Good afternoon. I'm Norah Fountain, and I'm really pleased to be here on behalf of Muskoka Chautauqua, moderating today's authors panel. You can't really see it, but here by the lake, in the early 1900s, in fact, I think it was 1916, authors gathered to exchange ideas, making this area of Lake Rosseau known as the literary capital of North America. And that also sparked the beginnings of Chautauqua in Muskoka. The Beleaguered is the second in a series. It's called the Beneath the Alders series. It opens a window into small town life in Brampton, Ontario, where Lynne Golding grew up, was born and raised. But the novel occurs in the time of the Great War. And in the second book, we're once again welcomed into the world of Jessie Stevens. Secrets weigh heavily on Jessie in the Beleaguered. And she has this moment where she's eager to share information she has, and she's met with a resounding slap by her mother. And I've got to ask it, here's a very seemingly healthy family. Why was it necessary to keep information about that family's secret, that history secret from Jessie? Why was that important for Jessie and for us, the readers?
I have to back you up just a little bit in answering that question, Norah. So the first book in the series starts in 1907. It is at the sod turning ceremony for the Carnegie Library in Brampton. This is a big event because the Carnegie Foundation was paying to have libraries built in small communities all across North America. The whole town turns up for this ceremony. There are dignitaries from Toronto. There are people from the States from the Carnegie Foundation. They have the ceremony. And when they're done this civic ceremony, the crowd is invited to rise and go to the local Presbyterian church where they will have a religious consecration ceremony. Everyone rises, everyone goes, except for Jessie and her immediate family. They're not allowed in this church, and no one will tell Jessie why. She's only 4 years old at the time. She starts making inquiries, but absolutely no one in her family will talk about it. She knows that there is a reason. She eventually realizes that it has to do with her grandfather, her mother's father. It has something to do with him being self-made and others destroyed. It takes Jessie 3 decades and the readers 3 books to find out why they can't go in that church. But her mother definitely does not want to talk about it. And her mother shuts Jessie down whenever she starts to get a little close. So that is one of the clues to this mystery. She hears the family is having a disagreement about whether Jessie's sister should be able to date a Catholic boy, because back in the day, in small town Ontario, there were real divisions between Protestants and Catholics. And Jessie wades into this conversation. She's older at this point. She wades into this conversation thinking that she can enlighten her older family members about the good things in their town that have happened as a result of people who are Catholic. And she rises after saying this and walks towards her mother, who's really a very open-minded person, and she thinks that her mother's going to embrace her. But instead, her mother slaps her across the face and says, "Don't ever say another thing nice about that man ever again." So I would be ruining the punchline of this story, giving out the secret too soon if I told you why. But that is one of a number of little clues that Jessie gets before she eventually learns the story.
Can we assume that when those secrets are revealed, it's going to be transformative for Jessie?
Jessie, there are a number of secrets in the book. That one actually slightly less impactful than another, but in learning that secret, we learn a lot more about her family and about the town that she lives in.
Thank you. And you painted the portrait of Brampton during that Great War time. That was incredibly well done. Thank you for that. In the Beleaguered, it's a big deal to go to picnic by the lake.
That's right.
So I wondered whether that was a little touch of your Muskoka getting in there.
I guess 2 aspects from Muskoka. First of all, this book series took me a long time to write. From conception to when it was complete, it was probably about 13 years. And that is because I am a full-time senior partner of a law firm in Toronto. I have 3 kids, which I raised almost single-handedly because my husband was not around most of the time. So I had a lot to do. The only time I could write was on my holidays, and at least 2 to 4 weeks of my holidays every year. And I should tell you that that book, it's about 113,000 words, but the book series as a whole was over 300,000 words. So it was a lot of writing that I did up here. But I will say this one thing. My book is set in Brampton, Ontario. But I'm really touched by the number of people who read it all across Canada and who say, even though you wrote about Brampton, I may have no connection to Brampton. This is the same story as my family had in small town in Newfoundland or Alberta. You know, I mean, obviously the country was at different stages of development, but life in small town Canada, I think, is captured equally in different communities. So.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here today, and thank you, Muskoka Chautauqua. Have yourself a great day, rest of your day in Muskoka.